Hello everyone. In this video, we will see how to construct a crane as a part of Qurio Spark constructions. Here is step 1. We take two C plates and join them using two nut bolts here. Similarly, we take two more C plates and join them using two nut bolts. This will act as the base of our crane. In step 2, we will use one rectangular plate and we'll connect that rectangular plate to the base using four nut bolts. One here, here and here. And then we will attach a DC motor with motor shaft onto the rectangular plate. If you see here are the motor screws, and then on the motor shaft we will use one shaft lock which is sandwiched between the gear and the rectangular plate. Then there is a gear and there is one more shaft lock at the top to secure the gear at place. In addition, we will also create one hole using a flat rotator and a 0.5 inch bolt and nut. In step 3, we will create a gear assembly. We will attach two 1.5 inch bolts onto the gear tightly connected to gear only. And then on each of the 1.5 inch bolt, we have placed three spacers. This gear is now mounted onto the rectangular plate, that is the base, using one axle and one shaft lock sandwiched between the big gear and the rectangular plate. And finally, one more shaft lock, which is to secure the gear at its place on top, and one more shaft lock below the rectangular plate. We know we put shaft locks to ensure that the axles stay at place. So wherever required, we need to put that. Now, the assembly which we are going to make in step 4 will be connected onto these two 1.5 inch bolts in step 8. So this is the assembly which we are going to create in step 4. We have two square plates connected to each other using two L connectors and 2.5 inch bolt and nuts each. Also, we create one hole using a flat rotator and a 0.5 inch bolt and nut. This we'll call assembly A. Now, another important assembly. Please pay attention here. We are using a gear, big gear, and a single bar, and we are connecting them using two nut and bolts. But between the single bar and the big gear, we have attached two shaft locks, which are not visible because they are below the single bar and above the gear. Now these shaft locks are put there so that the single bar, when we connect, does not bend, and this single bar, shaft lock and the gear are connected using two 0.5 inch bolt and nuts. We have put one flat rotator at end of this single bar and created a hole, and in that hole we have attached one more single bar using 1 inch bolt and nut, and this nut and bolt is loosely coupled. This is not tightly connected, it is loosely coupled. This we'll call assembly B. Now the assembly A, which we created in step 4, onto that we are attaching the motor. Observe the motor screw positions, and onto the motor we have put first a spacer and then a small gear and then secured it using a shaft lock. So there is a spacer between the gear and the square plate there, which is not visible because it is behind. We have also connected one L connector and To that L connector, we have connected a flat connector using 0.5-inch bolt and nuts both places. This is going to be used as a stopper for our crane's arm. This is assembly C now. Now here we are mounting the assembly B, which is the gear assembly which we created, onto assembly C, which we created in last step. We had created one hole in assembly B, and through that hole we have inserted an axle, and on the axle we have put the assembly B onto that and locked it using the shaft lock. This complete. Now we'll call assembly D. And now we are going to mount assembly D over the base. We had this base gear 1.5-inch bolts there. Onto those 1.5-inch bolts we are going to mount the assembly D using two nuts tightly connected, and that will complete our crane. This crane can rotate in two directions. One is the entire arm can rotate horizontally, and this arm can go up and down as well. Operate the crane. Do let us know your experiences of making the crane by writing your comments in the comment section.